Well, good afternoon. I hope you are keeping well. I thought I would come on and do another cup of tea and a conversation with you today and talk to you about some things that you might not have thought about in terms of your wealth, in terms of your ability to earn, but also your ability to create with what you've already got. Now, I'd be lying if I said there's nothing going on in the world right now. But I think we all know that there is something going on in the world right now. And what I wanted to talk about today is something that's really been on my mind. And in a lot of media reports, in a lot of posts, in all sorts of things, people talk about the uncertain times we find ourselves in. And every time I hear that, I just want to, I want to come online and say, but it can be certain times for you. That this idea of uncertain times comes from a place when we rise or fall with circumstances. And what I want to help you understand, and what's really inspired me over the last few days, I want to help you understand that you can create from within. And that even though there is a lot of change going on in our world right now, you can still stay in control of you. And that you can make your year as certain as you desire it to be by creating from within. So that's really the basis of our conversation today, to talk to you about a few different things and to really encourage you to join my coaching hour tomorrow that you will have seen me release. You've probably got an email in your inbox about it. If you're in my winner's circle, you will have seen it there as well. To join me for the Wealthy You coaching hour, where I'm really going to explain to you more about the 4 pillars that you already have within you right now that you can invest in, and how you invest in those pillars, how you invest in those pillars is really going to determine the kind of year that you have moving forward. As I was thinking about this topic, I was sitting down having lunch with my husband earlier, and I was, obviously we're living here at the Gold Coast now in Australia, Gold Coast, Australia. And I was looking out at the ocean, and I was thinking to myself about, once again, and you will have heard me talk about this, how the ocean really is a lot like wealth. It's always there, it's ever present, it's in abundance, it's ever flowing. The tide goes out and the tide comes in. And I was sitting there looking at it. I'm looking at it now. When we were having lunch, we got a beautiful open plan sort of kitchen, living, dining room. We look straight out over the ocean, 180-degree view of the ocean. And I said to my husband, I said, isn't it interesting though, when you look at the ocean, even though we know the tide goes out and the tide comes back in, it never really looks like it's going out, because the waves keep rolling in. The waves are always rolling in. So even though consciously we know that the tide goes out and the tide comes in, when you observe it, you really only ever see it rolling in. Would you agree with me? Would you agree what I'm telling you is the truth? And my husband said, and I said, I wonder how I can explain this more effectively, thinking about this conversation that I wanted to have with you today. And he said, well, think of it like this. There's always an undertow, but the rate of the waves coming in always brings you back in faster than it pulls you out. Like you're always going to come back in. And the undertow you can't ever really see. It's underneath. But the waves coming over the top are always moving you back forward, moving you back to the beach. And I thought, you know what, that's perfect. It's a great way of really thinking about what's happening at the moment. You might feel quite uncertain of what's going on around you at the moment. It might feel like there's an undertow taking you in a direction that you don't really want to go in. But if you can know and understand some of these laws of the universe, you can know and trust and have the belief that the wealth, the prosperity, the abundance, the health is always free flowing forward to assist you in creating the future that you really want. And just think about the ocean when you think about this, that yes, there is an undertow at times, all the time, but the rate of the waves, the abundance flowing, the force of the power of the good that you can create with is far stronger than what's taking you out to sea. Make sense? So I want you to remember that. And I want you to really start to think of wealth like that. And I want you to start to understand that all the wealth that exists in the universe, all the wealth, all the abundance, all the prosperity, you are connected with it right now in this very moment. And you are connected with a stream of power that you can take and create anything that you want with, to create very certain times for yourself. So it's not necessary for you to listen to anyone or anything outside of you telling you to buy into uncertain times. It's not to say we're denying the reality of the circumstances. We're not doing that at all. But what I'm here to do is to teach you that there is a place within you. There is the wealthy you. There is the place within you that you can create the future, the circumstances that you want. And as you learn about this, you're going to put yourself more and more in a position to create the future, the freedom, the prosperity, the wealth and abundance that you truly desire to experience. So let's take this conversation a little bit further today and have you think about, when you think about wealth, so aside from what I've just shared with you about the idea of wealth and abundance and prosperity, prior to us starting this conversation, that wealth is so much more than just money. And as you join me on the coaching hour tomorrow, you'll learn more about that, the 4 pillars of the wealthy you. And in fact, you probably won't hear me use the word money very often at all during that coaching hour. It's something entirely different that I'm going to open your mind up to on that coaching hour tomorrow. But I want you to start to think about, when you think about the word wealth, what do you think about? And how does it make you feel? What are the thoughts and ideas or the beliefs that you have about the wealthy you? Do you feel wealthy? Do you feel abundant? One of the notes that I've made here, I've got 3 or 4 notes to cover with you today, is to understand that if you want to experience more wealth and abundance and earn more and create more in the physical side of your life, you've got to find that within yourself first. Anything we want to experience on the outside, greater health, greater wealth, greater prosperity, you have to be able to find that within you. Everything starts within you. You're the point of origination of everything that you experience physically. So it's important that we start to have this conversation around wealth and abundance and prosperity and riches and money and all the other things that come with that, because everything originates through you. So when you think about the wealthy you, what do you think about? Does that even feel comfortable for you? Maybe it's something that you know you want, but you're not that comfortable with it at the moment. I just want you to really start to reflect on this and start to think about that question and understand that whatever you want to experience on the outside, you want to experience that on the inside first. The physical manifestation of what you experience around you originates within you first. So when we think about creating wealth and abundance and living how we want to live, these are things that we have to work on within ourselves first to create the life of freedom that you really want. And you have an enormous reservoir of potential within you right now to create anything that you truly want. You might be experiencing circumstances at the moment where much of what you had known to be true has been taken away from you very, very quickly by a circumstance seemingly well beyond your control right now in this changing landscape, in this global paradigm shift that we find ourselves in. And you might be looking to the outside for that support, looking to the circumstances, to the physical side of life for that foundation to support you in moving forward. You might find it there, but you won't find it there forever. The true sense of freedom, the true confidence and calmness to be able to create what you want comes from within. And you have an abundance of talent and potential and skills and abilities within you right now that even if there was nothing to change physically in your physical circumstances, you could create a quantum leap with, just by tapping into the wealthy side of you. And just by investing time and energy in the wealthy side of you, you could dramatically improve your circumstances 10 times. And you could dramatically improve your circumstances 10 times without anything outside of you changing. Yes, in the current global circumstances, in the current global paradigm shift that we are all a part of right now, you could still be doing 10 times as well as you're doing. Now, that might seem like a fantasy for you right now because you're looking at the circumstances outside of you and saying, I don't have any control over this. And the truth is, you can't control the circumstances, but you can create the circumstances that you want by creating from within. And the only corner of the universe you can be sure of improving right now is yourself. Your 1 square meter of you. When you think about it, when my sister was doing, if you've been following me for a while, my younger sister Jenna did a 4,500 kilometer run from Tasmania to Cape York a couple of years ago. And someone told her the only thing you can be sure about being in control of is the 1 square meter, your mind, your body, and whatever is going on in that 1 square meter. And everything outside of that, you're probably not going to be able to influence. But when you stay in control of you, you create your world. If you lose control of you, then you're going to rise or fall to whatever's going on outside you. When you take control, when you learn how to master the wealthy you and the 4 pillars of the wealthy you, then you're truly going to be living in freedom because you're going to feel in control of you. And you're going to create very certain times for yourself despite what's going on outside you because you're creating from within. Now, not a lot of people live like this. I want to caution you on this. Very few people in the world live like this. Most people, probably 97% of the population, rise or fall with the circumstances. So you have a decision to make right here and right now. Are you going to rise and fall with the circumstances outside you? Or are you going to find that point of support within you, the wealthy you, and invest in the wealthy you to create the life, the freedom that you truly desire, to create the circumstances that you want? And like I say, you don't need anything to change outside of you to make a quantum leap right now. You don't need anything to change in the circumstances. What needs to shift is you, is your point of support, is how you are investing in and using the wealthy side of you. And those 4 pillars that make up the wealthy you. And I'm going to be sharing with you what those are, the 4 pillars that you want to know about and learn about and invest in and grow so you can create the freedom, the life that you truly desire, and have that confidence within yourself to create what you want, and have that confidence and that calmness and that control to create what you want. And stop listening to what somebody else or something else thinks you can do and create, and go within and be able to adapt and really make that shift within yourself. You know, we are waking up every day to a new world. And as Alvin Toffler says, that the learners will inherit the earth, and the learned will find themselves beautifully equipped to exist in a reality that no longer exists. Education is not knowing. Education is really being able to understand and adapt, is to leave an old model behind and create a completely new model. What does Buckminster Fuller say about this? He says, you don't fight the existing reality, you build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. Now, right now, everywhere in the world, people are scrambling to build a new model. And they aren't equipped with the thinking resources, the mental tools to be able to sustain that and to be able to do it effectively and calmly and confidently. And this is what I want to teach you how to do and really put you in control of being able to shift and adapt and build a new model that makes the old model obsolete. And if you're looking for the mechanical side of life, if you're looking for the physical side of life to help you do that, you're not going to find it. It's got to come from within. This new model that will take you anywhere you want to go, this new model that allows you to adapt and create and make a quantum leap and earn more and have more and be more and do more in this beautifully intriguing landscape we find ourselves in at the moment, that has to come from within you. It's not that new model. You're not going to be able to find it looking at the physical side of life. It's going to come from the wealthy side of you. And this is what I'm going to be teaching you, and this is what I'm going to be talking to you about on my coaching hour tomorrow. So if you haven't secured your seat, I highly recommend that you do. We've only got 200 people. I'm only going to be talking to 200 people on that webinar, and I can guarantee that you're going to want to make sure that you're one of those 200 people that get hold of this information and what I'm going to be sharing and teaching on that call tomorrow. Let me just have a look here about some more of my notes. Yeah, I think we've covered a fair bit today that I wanted to chat to you about. Do you have any questions about anything that we've spoken about so far? If you do, feel free to comment on this video wherever you're watching this, and I can pick them up from there. A few other things that you're going to learn on this call tomorrow with me, on this coaching hour call. Obviously, I'm going to be explaining and sharing with you the 4 pillars of the wealthy you and how you can invest in and grow these 4 pillars to create a very happy, healthy, wealthy life moving forward. One that is very certain in terms of your own mental standpoint that you create from. I'm going to be teaching you how to learn how to use and grow and adapt these 4 pillars so that you can navigate a changing landscape, and so that you can navigate a changing landscape very calmly and very confidently, and stay in control of you. Circumstances are always changing outside of you, not just now, they always have been. And it's your ability to respond and adapt to a changing circumstance that makes the difference between someone who really creates from within and the freedom and the future that they really would love to have. But it also differentiates the leader from the follower in a changing process, in a crisis. People are always going to be looking to the person who can understand them and lead them through a change. And like I say, right now, globally, we are experiencing a paradigm shift. And only those people who really have mastered this on an individual level and how to show up and master it at a collective level, they're the ones that can make a real big difference, both locally. And when I talk about locally, I talk about your immediate circle, your business, your employees, and globally as well. And, you know, I know that my clients are going to be thriving right now. They are absolutely thriving, not just now because of whatever's going on, but because of always. Because they've learned how to do this, they are always thinking creatively. They aren't thinking creatively just today because there is a paradigm shift underway globally. I have taught them to always think creatively, to always be innovating the way they create their business and the way they lead and the way they influence people around them. I've taught them how to think, how to maintain a paradigm shift. I've taught them some of these principles, not all of the principles that I'm going to be teaching you tomorrow, but I've taught them some of these principles that I'm going to be sharing with you. And so when most people are extremely concerned about the future, my clients are seeing the opportunity within themselves to grow. Now, see what I said there? Not the opportunity in the circumstance, the opportunity within themselves to grow, the opportunity within themselves to make another paradigm shift, the opportunity within themselves to find a better way of doing what they have always done, to find a better, more effective way of providing more value, more service. And that is why they are always going to be okay. They will always be earning more money. They will always be creating better opportunities for themselves. They will always be becoming healthier and happier and having a more abundant, rich and wealthy life, because I have taught them how to create from within. And when they're creating from within, that positive influence is there for the rest of the world to see. And so they find themselves moving into that 3% of the population that are truly creating financial independence, that are truly creating and living that life of freedom that they really want. And they're doing it in a very, very calm, relaxed way. So you're never going to hear me say that because of the circumstances going on in the world right now, you need to come and work with me. You're not going to hear me use that language, because it was a good idea to be working with me a month ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 5 years ago. And it's still going to be a good idea to work with me in a month's time, in 6 months' time, in 12 months' time, in 5 years from now. It's always a good idea to understand this, not just because there is a crisis. Now, if you find yourself in a situation where you don't understand this, then it's probably slightly more right time for you to be getting involved in this. But I'm not going to be selling you on the corona crisis. But I am always going to be selling you on you, always selling you on the potential that you currently have underdeveloped, untapped within you. And it is always, always going to be a good idea for you to invest in you, because you are the surest corner in the universe that you can count on for being able to create the future that you want. And when you get that, when you really get that, and you understand the significance of that, you are fundamentally creating a new world for yourself to live in. And it doesn't matter what's going on outside you. You have now found that place within you to be able to create what you want. So I don't know what other plans you had tomorrow, but I would really suggest you cancel them and you get on this coaching hour with me. And you invest that 60 to 90 minutes to really sit down and listen to what I have to say to you. And you come to that call prepared with your notepad and your journal, and you come with an open mind. You come with an open mind around where you're at and what you really want. And you shut out the circumstances around you, and you start to look within. Because your answer is within. Your answer right now to the problems, the challenges that you have facing yourself, your family, your community, the answers that you need to solve those questions are going to come from within you. And whilst there is so much shifting and changing in our landscape, I cannot emphasize enough that if you don't learn how to do this, you are going to rise or fall with the circumstances outside you, which is not a very nice way to live. But when you can learn this and be open to really understanding what I teach and what I can teach you how to do, you're going to create a new world for yourself. And like I say, we're not going to deny that there aren't circumstances playing out at the moment, but you're going to put yourself on a trajectory in harmony with the stream of power. Instead of that undertow in the ocean pulling you way out in a direction that you don't want to go, you're going to feel like you're riding that wave back into shore. You're going to feel the power that you are connected with. And you're going to be tapped into that. And that energy is just going to move you in any direction that you want to go. But there's two streams. You can get on the side of the stream that's taking you to lack and limitation, poverty, dis-ease, anxiety, the side of life that I know that you don't really want to be trapped in, or you can learn how to project yourself to the other side of the stream, right? To get on top of the wave, to ride the wave back into shore, to harness the power of the wave that'll take you anywhere you want to go, and learn to ride it for as long as you want to ride it back to shore. Ride that wave of wealth, of abundance, of prosperity. And it really starts with understanding the wealthy you. So on the coaching hour tomorrow, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the 4 pillars of the wealthy you. And I'm going to teach you how to start to think like the wealthy 3% of the population. The people who, no matter what the economy is doing outside them, they're always successful. They always make it big. They're always creating more with less. And now is a great time to be doing that. Create more with less. You might have less time in your day. You might find yourself at home with children a little bit more often. You might have to be creating more with less. And unless you've learned how to think and do that, you might be finding it very challenging at the moment. You might have lots of things that circumstances have suggested that things are going against you. When you learn to get on top of that wave and really ride that wave and tap into that source of supply that is ever present and all knowing and always with you, God of supply within you, the higher side of you, you're going to know that the universe has always got you, always got your back, always got your back. And you're going to learn something about yourself that you didn't even know was there. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. I'm going to also be talking to you about just how important your environment is in helping you create the wealth, the success, the health that you truly desire to experience right now. Now, I say right now because now is all we have. The subconscious mind can only accept, so we can't go back into the past. And the future doesn't exist yet. We're always creating in the now. And how we create in the now dictates what we will experience in the tomorrow. But the tomorrow never really comes. We only have now. So we have to create in the now. We have to create what we want in the now, which is why your environment and how you're thinking and creating is so important. Because your thoughts are laying the foundation for what you will physically manifest. You want to remember that you exist simultaneously. You are a spiritual being gifted with an intellect living in a physical body, and the physical side of your life is the last and lowest level that anything manifests on. So the second you start to think, you're operating in the spiritual and the mind side of your beingness, and you're laying the foundations for what you're going to physically manifest. So it's really important that you get a hold of this and you understand this, because you're laying the foundations for what you're going to physically manifest, and your environment, what you're tapped into, has a huge influence on your subconscious programming. And your subconscious mind is responsible for like 95% of the way you create. So if you're tapping into continually an environment that says things are very, very uncertain, what are you going to be creating? If you're seeking a healing, that's like moving up the stream when you could be living with wellness. You could be in the stream, taking you towards what you want. So environment's really important. We're going to be touching on that tomorrow. And I'm also going to be opening your mind up to some dramatic improvements that you can make in your results, in your business, in your career over the next 30 days, getting you thinking differently about the kind of success, the kind of results that you could create in the next 30 to 90 days without anything else outside of you changing. Right now, in this very moment, you are poised for a quantum leap. That means skipping rungs on the ladder of achievement. You don't have to settle for incremental success or incremental improvements. You can go for a quantum leap, and you can go for a quantum leap right now. And it starts with a decision. It starts with a decision to invest in you, to really put yourself on a new trajectory, to get up there where the wealthy thinkers of the world are, where the creators, where the innovators, where the leaders are, creating new futures and doing it with beautiful confidence, with beautiful calmness and clarity with every move that they make. And I want to really invite you to do that. So if you haven't already registered, register for the Wealthy You Coaching Hour with me. If you're watching this on the replay and the time has passed, for you to access that, I'm sorry. But feel free to email support@karenbrook.com.au and we can talk about other coaching options available to you right now. So on that note, I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of your Sunday afternoon. Take a walk, get some fresh air, stand in the beautiful vibration that is yours to connect with. And I look forward to being online with you very soon. Take care. I'm Karen Brook.